Welcome to the Silver Dollar City Podcast. It's a new monthly podcast here from the heart of the Ozarks in the Culinary and Craft Studios, which continue to amaze me.
Yes, how beautiful. The chandelier.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Cole Estes.
And I'm Maddie Wild.
Yeah, and we are lifetime fans of Silver Dollar City ourselves. I think that's important to point out here. And, you know, I was actually born and raised here in the Ozarks. So, we were actually just talking about this yesterday about how we have so many fond memories of growing up, coming to Silver Dollar City. And now here we are, we get to sit in the Culinary and Craft Studios and actually talk about Silver Dollar City. Like, it's very surreal.
Yes, it is. It's like full circle. I grew up coming here my whole life with my dad and born and raised in the Ozarks.
Yeah, same for me. We were talking about how we both have ties to Ozark, Nixa, Christian County kind of land. I grew up in Mount Vernon, not far from here, but I guess just so you know a little bit about our perspective. I am married. I'm a husband. I'm a father of 3, and work here at Silver Dollar City. You're going to learn more about us, I'm sure, throughout the course of today's first Silver Dollar City podcast. And I do think it's important just to say that as we get this rolling as a new podcast here at Silver Dollar City, you can throw questions at us. You can give us your feedback. You can tell us, don't ever say that again. Don't ever, I don't know, whatever. Ozarkly at silverdollarcity.com. Ozarkly at silverdollarcity.com. Mm-hmm. And maybe we'll get to, include some emails on the podcast. Yeah. That'd be fun.
Love to read those out loud. And Ozarkly, like that name really speaks to me because I grew up in Ozark and it was still there, Uh-huh. So my husband and we both grew up in Ozark and we still live there. And now I work at Silver Dollar City. So it's really cool. I mean, I grew up coming here with my dad and they would just kind of let us loose at the top of the park and say, come back, meet us at the gazebo.
Gosh. It is weird now, like especially having kids, like thinking back to those times where we would just get let loose. You didn't know what time it was. Mm-hmm. You didn't know where anybody in your family was. I mean, even back at home, you didn't know where your friends were, right? You had to call and like ask for their mom and, figure out if you could find out where they were in the neighborhood or whatever. But like now it's so easy to keep track of people. And yet I know people still stress out about it. You see it around on Park sometimes.
For sure. My mom would say, now come home before the streetlights, come on. That was kind of our rule of thumb. Like make sure you're in the house before the streetlights.
That's good.
Yeah. And for sure, like you said, coming to the park and just getting lost. I mean, you can kind of do that here. We were talking about that. You don't really need to know what time of day it is.
No,
you just go have fun.
You know what? This sounds so stereotypical farm kid, but like my mom literally had the giant bell on the corner of the deck out there. You know what I mean? So we would just like ride off for country miles on our bikes and she would just go out and ring that big bell and we knew, oh, well, I guess we need to go eat, or
yep, come on home. I know. That is kind of a country thing. Like, you always think of that.
Yeah. It makes me, sounds like something generationally older than I should be, but it's this way we grew up. But
I love it.
Talking about growing up in the Ozarks, you and I had a chance to play around on Park a little bit yesterday, and I think it just really started to feel like summer.
It did.
Just like overnight to me, like Memorial Day weekend, just like all of a sudden it feels like summer. It was like humid. We're like dodging thunderstorms off and on here in the Ozarks,
Right.
But like there is just a summer vacation vibe.
Absolutely. I feel like when I see summer, I see like the pools getting filled up and that makes me instantly excited. Yeah. I'm driving around, everyone's cleaning out the outside areas, getting their pools filled up, and I'm ready to hop in there for sure with the humidity coming in.
I mean, it's easy for me because again, having like kids in school, it's like summer is when all of a sudden everybody's sleeping in and staying up too late, and I'm like creeping out of the house in the morning to go to work, trying not to wake everybody up, but like there was I feel like even the end of school, like, a lot of people just experience like the last day of school. There's a vibe in Nixa or Ozark or Springfield or like these towns where on that last day of school, it's just a vibe, people are just a little bit lighter, on their feet.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody's excited.
You were
for
talking
summer.
about that, the kids like with their hands out the window.
I totally saw
playing with
that.
the
Yeah,
wind.
taking the kids to school on the last day. They were so excited, that they're about to get out for summer.
Music's bumping. It's just exciting time. I mean, everyone's going to the lake. That's
Oh yeah.
I love the lakes around here.
I saw lots of pictures. I did not go to the lake over that weekend, but
I didn't either.
Lots of pictures flooding in there. I did. You and I were talking about things that signify summer, to us. I don't know. They've probably been around, but I did just finally notice lightning bugs at my house. Like they're out in full force.
Yep.
in the
They're all
backyard.
over our yard, along with the mosquitoes, which I don't love them as much. But
Yeah, that's true.
They're out. They're ready.
Have you ever watched a kid squish a lightning bug?
Yes,
And
and
use it like war paint or something?
Yeah, I sure have. I grew up with brothers, so
Kids are
that was something.
savages.
Those poor
Yeah.
little bugs.
They're-
Pulling
I
out
know.
their light.
Yeah, stick to the mosquitoes, right?
Right. Yeah, we can smash those poor things. But
Well, you're right. The pools are filling up around where I live too. School's out. Lightning bugs are out. I got my first hummingbird visit the other day. I am turning into that dad that like puts feed out for the birds.
Oh,
and
I
I
love
get a
it.
kick out of seeing what's coming to eat our bird feed, and stuff. And we're getting visited by hummingbirds now. So it just feels like summer.
Yeah, do you do the hummingbird feeders with the cane
I
sugar?
did finally, and I'm late to it. I think weeks late, really. But like a hummingbird came up to us on the front porch, and was like, "Dude, where's your food?" It's I'm over here with this flower, but I need a feeder. So we
Yeah.
finally got around and put one out.
Give me the good stuff. I was reading something that they were saying you need to be careful with those hummingbird feeders and really clean them out. Did you see that? About how the
I did
hummingbirds
not, and
can
I did
get,
wash mine at the sink with some Dawn. I hope that's not poisonous to them.
I think that's good. Just as long as
Okay.
you're not letting the mold grow, because they can
Okay.
get in there and it can mess up their mouth. Poor things.
Yikes!
So
I
yeah,
did
everyone,
not know that.
keep a lookout for that. Watch out for the hummingbirds. Save the
Okay.
hummingbirds.
Well, I hope I didn't hurt my hummingbirds.
Yeah.
Let's talk about summer. We're just on the cusp of summer celebration.
Yes.
Right? Here we are.
Can't
sitting
believe
in
it.
Silver Dollar City. It's starting to feel like summer here too, just like in our hometowns, in our homes. And, that's coming up June 8th through August 4th.
That's right.
Then that also rolls like summer nights into it, like the late night stuff that we do for summer celebration. But as we look ahead towards that summer festival, you've probably looked in, right? We get a sneak peek at some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Is there anything with summer celebration that you're looking most forward to? Any must-dos, you think?
Something
that
for
are on
me
your list?
that I must do, because I've only seen little pieces of the show, is the stunt dog show.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm an animal lover.
Yeah, me too. And honestly, I could pet those dogs for hours.
Yeah.
There was one time, I don't even remember why, that I got to go backstage. I was probably lost as a new employee at Silver Dollar City.
Happens here.
And I wound up, this was at Red Gold. They're at Opera House, I think, for summer celebration.
Yes.
But they were at Red Gold, and I remember walking back there, and those dogs were so excited to see company. It was like somebody new came back here, and they're all excited. Just like
That's
only
awesome.
a dog can be.
Yeah, we need to open it up for therapy. We can come back emotional
That's a great
therapy.
idea.
Pet the dogs. The dogs would love it. We would love it. So maybe we could talk to them about that.
Yeah, Chris Perondi's. Yeah, that's coming up for summer. Excited to have them here at Silver Dollar City. I also, speaking of sneak peeks, we were looking at the summer passport the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, like foods, big part of my summer.
Yep,
right?
big foodie here too.
Yeah. And what's funny? We were eating our way around Silver Dollar City as a family before tasting passports were a thing, right?
Right.
Being a foodie at Silver Dollar City is so easy,
Yeah, what are things that when you were coming here with your family that you guys would have to get? Was there that staple?
It was always funnel cake because
yeah.
I remember not being able to get funnel cake hardly anywhere else. Maybe at the fair, but it wasn't the same. It was like Silver Dollar City had a dozen types of funnel cake anytime you would come. And that was always baked in, as something,
Yep.
I wanted to have. And, the summer foods, I saw where they're going to put Fruity Pebbles on a funnel cake.
Ooh, Fruity Pebbles. I like Fruity Pebbles cereal. Mm-hmm. So
Is that one you buy? Is that one you keep at the house? Or?
No, it's not. But that's like a treat every once in a while.
Okay.
But now I might have to go out and buy some. But see, when I get a funnel cake, I'm kind of plain. I always just get the powdered sugar.
Yeah.
So maybe with the tasting passport, it would be a little better to branch out and try a little sample
Sure.
before I go,
Full-fledged
force. Yeah.
Fruity Pebbles.
Yes. Yeah, maybe a little sample, and then maybe I love it. I don't know. We'll have to see. So
I don't, for some reason, I'm excited to try Fruity Pebbles on a funnel cake, but like I don't care for cereal on a donut. You ever see?
Yeah.
That's a thing, like people put lots of different Captain Crunch and things like on a donut nowadays. And I'm like, too much.
Yeah, it's a little too much sugar for me. Because I mean, I love a donut and that's already pretty sugary.
Me too.
So when you start piling it up with more sugar, maybe a little bit.
Some of the other things I remember seeing on there, I mean, it's not necessarily something I would pick because it's tough to pick your 5, I think, if you have a passport. But like, they had the like grilled pineapple on there. It looks delicious. It's a little too healthy for me probably to choose.
Well, it has a pina colada dipping sauce.
Okay.
So I've never tried that either.
Yeah.
So that's something I think I would pick up.
Dude, pina colada is something I find entertaining because I've never been a fan of pina colada flavored stuff necessarily. But like pina colada introduces itself in dipping sauces and sodas. Like my son loves pina colada soda. I'm like, what? Coconut?
I've never tried that.
You never had that before?
I've never had the soda, but I've had it like a snow cone. Like a pina colada
that's
snow
another
cone.
place it introduces itself early in our lives. Okay. I also thought this is just classic, but I mean, I'm sure it's probably not just for summer, but the root beer float is going to be a star of summer here. And I thought, wow, that really just hit me as something I haven't had in a while that I want now.
Yeah, and
that I saw that on
summertime.
the passport.
Right, and you could get that root beer float too. I mean, I'm saloon girl, like I have my saloon shirt on. But
that's right.
You got to go in there. You can cool off from the summer and get the root beer float. So we'll have to do that this summer, Cole.
What just happened? You referenced a saloon, and probably some people that were listening to the podcast were like, oh, that's where I know Maddie.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, I started.
I guarantee that just happened.
I started in the saloon in 2015. It was like growing up, coming here and seeing those girls. I was like, I gotta do that. I was like, I just want to do that. And my dream came true in 2015. And I mean, just
so cool.
It's such a fun place. And I'm still here, and I probably will never leave because it's my favorite place on earth.
Yeah,
I love it.
What a run! What a run! As a saloon girl.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Always have a piece of my heart. That's for sure.
Yeah. And root beer floats, clearly.
Yes. Yep.
Have a special place in your heart. Was there anything else on the tasting passport? We were looking ahead that, summer foods?
For me, I love flavor. Okay. So the jambalaya skillet, that really stuck out to me because I like spices. I love flavors. So I think that's something. And another thing was the hibachi sticky pork belly skillet. That was like a mouthful.
I can't even say that. Yeah.
I know. So I don't know. I think of like hibachi when those people cook in front of you. So I don't know. Mixed with some pork belly, all in a skillet. It
sounds delicious.
Yeah, it sounds like an explosion of flavor. So that's what I'm looking for.
You know what's funny? When I think of summer passport, I have to like you got to go in the shade to eat that, right? Like it's too hot. Like I felt myself like steering away from some of the hot foods.
Right. That's a good point.
About summer at Silver Dollar City, it can get pretty warm around here. I did. The only other thing I think I saw that I was like, oh yeah, I need to go get one of those is the new cinnamon sugar pretzel. Ooh. At Sadie's Pretzel Cafe.
Oh, that sounds good because that's my favorite at Auntie Anne's. Like anytime I would go, I would get the cinnamon sugar. So I'm gonna have to go check that out.
Sadie's gonna take on Auntie Anne, this summer, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? What, I got hung up. I got hung up on foods, which can happen naturally.
Me
what
too.
were some other must-dos for summer? I think we got sidetracked.
We love the foods. I mean, I could sit here and talk about it all day because I'm getting hungry now. My favorite thing is not necessarily at Silver Dollar City, but is just anything involving water for summertime. Like we love taking our kayaks out on the rivers around here. They're so beautiful.
Yeah.
We love the lakes. We love the pools. We would love, whitewater. I just love having fun and relaxing in water.
You know what? Generally speaking, I think this hit you too. It was like over the weekend when I started seeing pictures of whitewater. I was like, that signifies summer in the Ozarks.
It does.
It's like whitewater's open. It's summertime, just generally speaking. But you're right. I love swimming too. My kids, of course, love swimming. We've got, a couple pools that we hit, up around home.
Oh, yeah.
In the summertime. They can't get enough of that.
Yeah. So what is your family favorite thing to do in summer?
Well, it's funny that you brought up the lake, and that was also on my must-do for summer list is camping. We love camping in my family. And again, there's so many great places to camp around Table Rock. You
Yeah.
know, within you could throw a rock and hit like a dozen great campsites. Like right on Table Rock Lake from Silver Dollar City, even down here at Indian Point.
It's so
area.
true. Now, how do you beat the heat like when you're in the tent? Because
Well, we glamp, so we do have
Okay, that's
we
my
have
style.
a camper, so you can get in the AC if
Yes.
you need to. But we do keep paddle boards too. Like you were talking about kayaking and stuff. Like we do keep paddle boards, and we love going out and just splashing around in the water too.
That's so fun.
it's
Yeah,
super
see,
fun.
I'm definitely a glamper. I haven't been camping in so long because I like the air conditioner. I like,
Yeah.
having those amenities, I think.
We're inside cats. Yeah.
Yep, I'm an inside cat.
cats.
That's for sure.
What else? This summer in particular, you and I just did this yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was because it was on our kickoff list was the new Fire in the Hole.
Yes. And thinking about fire in the hole, like we talked about this a little earlier, crickets and frogs, those make me think of summer. And nothing makes me think like fire in the hole. You take that first corner and you hear
You
the crickets and
pointed that out
frogs.
to me yesterday.
Fire in the
Yeah.
hole is summer. So, yep, that's always, I just know I'm going into that ride when I hear that.
They've definitely, captured that, part of summer. And I didn't even think about that, the story that plays out in front of you at Fire in the Hole. I mean, that it had to happen in summertime, right?
Right.
I don't know the timeline of that specifically. I'm not a historian, but it had to happen in summertime with all those crickets and frogs you pointed out.
That's true. I never really thought of that. And Fire in the Hole, the old Fire in the Hole, was my very first roller coaster ever.
Isn't that true for so many people?
And
Yeah.
I might be remembering this wrong, but I remember them putting me in like a booster seat behind me. And I don't know if I'm making that up in my head.
Okay.
But I feel like
All
they
right.
put like this big pad behind my back because we were so little to put us
Yeah.
up to the front. I don't know if I'm making that up, but I remember it. I was so young. So
Sounds like a safety procedure. You
Yeah.
know? I don't know anything about safety.
yeah, I might just be making that up. Or I might have just been so little that it felt huge. But
Yeah.
we had to ride Fire in the Hole. Every time we came to the park, it was
Same.
just one of those things that you did. Like you got the funnel cake,
Yep.
you rode Fire in the Hole, you went to the taffy shop. So, I mean, it's a big part of my life. And I know it's a part of so many. So
Yeah.
it's cool that Silver Dollar City, remade the ride and kind of kept that tradition
Yeah.
going.
I think, we saw this a ton with the grand finale of Fire in the Hole last year, right? I mean, it was so impactful to so many families because it's an all ages coaster, like it's a family coaster.
Right.
And that's absolutely what I remember when I really think back. I think not all the rides were going to get me on it with my granny or my mom and dad, right? But that was the one ride you remember as a kid that everybody went on.
Yep, the whole
we
family.
rode together. And I'll never forget that.
Yeah. We had a guy on the last day. It was so fun to watch him. He came up the hall as he was exiting and he goes, I just got to run back down real fast, and ran up the ramp. He goes, this is my last time doing this ever. Running up the ramp. So it was just cool to see him do that.
The exit ramp. You did.
Yeah, he had to do it one more time. So it's really neat. And I know we had a great time going and riding the ride yesterday and just standing in the queue. How fast
We
the
did,
time
and the new
passed.
Fire in the Hole. I know. And, I know we're going to touch on some of the Easter eggs, that crossed over from the old ride. But I definitely, don't you always remember as a kid riding the old Fire in the Hole? And it was a pretty thrilling coaster for a kid,
Yeah.
right? I mean, still with the drops and the train and the fire in the hole. And but when you come out of that thing, always seeing that foot,
Yes.
right? The painting, the old man with the foot, that always brought me such comfort as a kid. And I think it was because you always knew that was the end of the ride.
Right.
You're like, there it is.
There it is. We made it.
We made it back.
We
to the
survived.
dock. Yeah. Yes. I remember feeling that, and that is, for those that have not ridden the new Fire in the Hole yet, that is something that will surprise you. Some things did carry over from the old coaster to the new coaster here
Definitely.
at Fire in the Hole. And I think, yesterday you and I were in the queue line because we wanted to just kind of go and soak it all in and kind of experience it, as a guest. And I think we learned a few things from the guests that were in the queue line too. Back to the number one, I think there's a summer vibe.
Oh, yeah.
right? Like nobody looks forward to necessarily waiting in queue, right? To ride a ride. But like everyone was so happy.
They were.
And you and I, we got to talking. I don't even remember how long we were in line because it didn't matter.
It didn't matter. You lose track of time. You're just having a good time.
Yeah, we absolutely did. And there was just such a summer vacation vibe in the park, you know, yesterday. And even in that queue line, people were just like chatting and catching up and talking to each other and introducing themselves to other people. It was just like, I was surprised, you know, I mean, because, you know, when you're at Silver Dollar City all the time, you kind of take for granted, you know, those queue experiences sometimes. But there we were yesterday.
Right.
You know?
And they had all the family, like you were saying, you know, grandpa, grandma, little kids, you know, teenagers. And I love that too. And everyone was happy, you know.
They truly were.
You made the comment of no one likes to really wait in line, but everyone was just having a good time.
Yeah. All right. So we did learn a few things in the queue line for the new Fire in the Hole yesterday. Any tips and tricks that you want to share, like just totally jumped out to you that you saw?
Well, it was fun catching up. So we kind of said, you know, maybe use that time to grab a family member or a friend, come in line, and the time will pass if you're just having good conversations.
That's true. Like have a real conversation.
Yeah.
While you're waiting. Yeah. You know what? You got to get past the weather. Right? Because we all love to talk about the weather here in the Ozarks for some reason. But like if you can actually have a real conversation, the time will just melt by.
Yeah,
for sure. We did experience that yesterday. And something kind of took me back to being a child waiting for the original Fire in the Hole. When we were in line yesterday and the mom, you remember across the line from us, brought out the Ziploc baggie.
Yes.
You know, and she's like collecting phones and
put them in the
wallets
Ziploc
and everything to go in her purse. And I was like, BYOZ, bring your own Ziploc.
Yes.
I forgot. What a great tip and trick, you know?
It is because you do get, you know, get a little wet on Fire in the Hole and
sure
other rides, of course.
We sat front row. We got, we got a sprinkle for sure.
But I love that. We kind of talked about, in my family, we always designated like who's going to grab all the phones and take them across and put it in the cubby.
Yep.
We always like, you're going to do it this time.
That's efficient.
Yeah.
I could see that.
We're planning. We're excited.
Designated like a cubby runner. Okay.
And we also talked about games that you might play with your family to pass the time, whether it's I Spy or really taking in all the, you know, signage, the stuff that they've set up in the queue line. It's pretty amazing, and it's all well thought out and has a story behind it.
It is. It really is. You know, that's one thing I think you immediately appreciate when you're standing, you know, there enjoying the, you know, all the decorations, the queue, the story that plays out before you ever get on the ride Fire in the Hole is really awesome.
It is.
There's so much thought put into everything from the wanted, you get to know the ball knobbers a little bit, right? There's the wanted posters that are up in there. You get introduced to those new characters and you kind of learn about the original pumpers and, you know, the things that went into the story.
Right.
That's all there in the queue line for you if you pay attention.
Yes.
You know?
So ride multiple times. But, and that's something with the old ride. Like, I didn't really feel like I got as much of the storyline from it. Maybe that's just because I took it for granted. We kind of talked about that. I grew up here, so I rode it all the time. Just kind of became that ride. And with the new one, I feel like they really lay it out for you. You know, the more you ride it, the more you're going to understand like what you're part of, you know, what you're doing for the ride or how you're helping put out the fires. Yeah. That's cool.
That's true. It definitely brings you in to the story, I think, better, the new Fire in the Hole. And a good portion of the queue is air conditioned, which is kind of nice on a summer day, right?
So
I
nice
remember
for
appreciating
summertime.
that when we got in there. And I did definitely see, like you were saying, families doing like people watching, you know, like people watching with a purpose, like trying to just figure out, you know, family dynamics and looking across the way and guessing names. And I thought that's actually kind of fun. I remember coming down to Branson in general, you know, felt like a lot longer trip as a kid, right? And we didn't have devices, you know, like there are now, you know, necessarily. I mean, eventually we did, you know.
Right.
You know, we had Sega Game Gear. Was that what that was called? Anyway,
the Game Gear?
That's a digress. Yeah. Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, but, yeah.
I do remember playing the alphabet game. Right? You were saying you and your brothers played the alphabet game where you like look for A on the signs, like on the road signs, and then B and then C, and there's like whoever could get through the alphabet first, you know? Like that was a great road trip game.
Yep.
Also, there's enough signs in the Fire in the Hole queue, I think, to play that game.
I think so, too.
I think you could make it through the alphabet. I want to see somebody try. We should have done that yesterday.
Yeah, we should have. I didn't even think about that one, but that is a good one for all the family. Keep everybody engaged and, you know, present, too. Really enjoying the time with each other.
Yeah. And I think it stuck out to both of us how quick the ride is, right? Like the storyline, it's pretty immersive, but it goes quick. Like you said, ride multiple times. Like there's so much to take in. I feel like it's smoother, right, than the original coaster, maybe a little quicker than the original Fire in the Hole. So it goes by pretty quick. So
yeah, and you can hear the storyline a lot better. I feel like, it's riding with you on board now.
Yeah.
Whereas before you would kind of hear it and pass and be like, what was that?
Sure.
And I catch myself looking around everywhere because they really have put so much detail.
Yeah.
I told you that, like I could ride one time and keep my head all the way to the right and one time all the way this way.
And you get surprised by like certain screens now, like are kind of well hidden, like windows and stuff. There's so much going on, around you. But you're right. I think you find yourself looking around because you can hear all the things going on around you in the atmosphere that is, Fire in the Hole.
Right. Really immersive for sure.
There. Yeah. Well, it's definitely on our must-do list for summer, right? Especially if you haven't been down to, ride the ride yet.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big feature of summer celebration. And, we had so much fun yesterday in the queue.
Yeah, we had a blast.
Yeah.
It was a fun experience, and the whole ride itself. I really enjoy it, just going through and seeing all the detail. I love the ball knobbers, the different characters. I just think it's so clever.
They've got a lot
it's
of
fun.
Personality.
Yeah.
More than I remember the old ball knobbers having,
I don't want to spoil too much for people, but you got to come down and ride it. And
yeah. There's a lot of Easter eggs from the old ride to the new ride for sure.
Definitely.
To watch for. Yeah. And queuing on the ride. But, all right. I know we could probably talk about Fire in the Hole for another 30 minutes if we wanted to.
Yes,
because
definitely.
We just experienced it. It was fresh on our minds. But this has been a ton of fun. This is our first ever Silver Dollar City podcast.
Yes.
So, I mean, I wouldn't want to do this with anybody else.
I feel the same,
fun, just
Cole.
sitting down and chat. It's just like kind of flown by on us, but I feel like, we'll save something for next time. How about that?
And what what better place
everything.
to talk about than Silver Dollar City and just things in the Ozarks. It really is a beautiful place and a lot of wonderful people. So feel blessed.
This podcast is just one of the things, one of the many content, generated items that'll be at ozarkly.com. We mentioned Ozarkly at silverdollarcity.com is a place that they can, tell us how silly we looked or how we ranted too much about.
Yes,
just
we'd love
not a
to hear
rant
it.
if it's positive, right?
Right.
We gushed about Fire in the Hole and our experience yesterday, I guess.
We want to hear it either way. Talk to us.
Yeah, because we can turn that around on them, right? We can read that on here and we can gush a rant on them too. But,
that's right.
Anyway, just to kind of wrap up our first Silver Dollar City, thanks to everybody, for feeling that summer vacation vibe and coming out to Silver Dollar City. I know we've got a long, fun summer to go here at Silver Dollar City. Thanks for making it this far and listening to our first ever Silver Dollar City podcast. We're certainly appreciative of you, and I think you've got a great past ahead of you here at Silver Dollar City.